And a former president of the African Development Bank, Donald Kaberuka, has highlighted digitalization as one of the major trends that can drive opportunities in Africa. Mr. Kaberuka was speaking at the just concluded UK-Africa Investment Summit in London. He says Africa needs to do a whole lot more to attract foreign direct investment.
The number of young people, how big the consumer market will be by 2040, 2050. So the demographic dynamics of this continent is a long-term mega trend. It is not subject to a 24-hour news cycle. And that means a lot for businesses, whether you are in agriculture, in manufacturing, whatever it is. But the second big mega trend, which people tend to miss, that is the fact that by 2030, 40% of Africans will be living in the cities. And here I mean towns and cities, not simply the big cities like Kinshasa and Lagos and Accra and all this. I'm talking about even small cities, Kumasi, Kolwezi, Port Harcourt, anything above 1 million people. And that is a trend which is set to continue. So the demographic dynamics on one hand, a young continent, increasing number of consumers, the high number of educated young Africans coming into the labor force, and then this massive urbanization. Then there is a third factor, which a lot of stereotypes tend to miss. And that is the fact that although some countries have challenges in managing the commodity supercycle, i.e. when the prices are going up, there is pro-cyclical spending. And so when prices come down, they have challenges making that adjustment. Many other countries have actually done well in terms of anchoring the economic reforms of the 80s. That momentum has stayed there, and especially in the business environment. So when you combine the ever-improving business environment with the demographic dynamics, that is where things will happen, especially in the cities. Now, I want to also add the other big trend. This is digitalization, where Africa has been the leader. I expect this to intensify. I don't expect this to fall back. We are leading on digitalization, beginning with markets like Kenya and all this. But it is not simply digitalization is in adopting smartphones, using them for services, whatever it is. It is digitalization and leapfrogging, using the opportunity to do things differently. Think of Africa in the 80s with the landline phones. But this was the continent which led on the adoption of mobile phones. There are many more things happening in digitalization and leapfrogging. However, having said this, because the time is limited, I want to caution that we have a long way to go. And this is the first thing I have to do. There is a lot of talk nowadays about the fact that the real wages increase in China. About 80 million jobs will move out of China to either India, Southeast Asia, or Africa. I like to believe that we can get a good share of those FDI. But it will not happen automatically. There are some things we have to do. And the first thing we have to do is to improve our logistics. I'm not simply talking about infrastructure, the logistics. The second thing we have to improve is what I call clusters around the particular firms. And the third thing we have to do is to expand the depth and the size of the market. And this is the importance of the CFTA.